This is the Think Podcast for entrepreneurs, business owners, and real estate professionals. Insight, real talk, systems that scale. Think about it. Today's episode is sponsored by Fortra Law, a firm deeply invested in the growth of private lending. Fortra is a proud member of the Women in Private Lending Group and supports the leaders driving meaningful change across the industry.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Think Podcast. And today I'm super excited because we have one of our Think resident experts. So Alex Buriak, who you'll hear from in just a second, is along the ride with us here at Think, and he helps to scope and really kind of craft a really excellent and solid education narrative. And so we are lucky today here. I got him early to get in front of this because we get a lot of questions here on our education line about AI. And so Alex has got an exciting new company. And if you guys, I can't think of anybody that wouldn't know Alex, but I'll let him talk about himself here in just a second. So he's one of the finest looking men in the space. But we're going to get into AI and a whole bunch of stuff and what that means for you guys at a novice level, at a mid level, at an expert level, all from what you can do to best use that. Because for a guy like me, AI is kind of ChatGPT and a couple of search engine keys, but it's so much more than that. So Alex, welcome, and tell everybody a little bit about iRock and kind of what you've got going on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I just appreciate you, Scott.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm the best looking, but
Facial hair thing. I wish I could do the stash, believe me.
Well, I'm the CEO and founder of Iron Rock Consulting, and on a bird's eye view, what it is, I've been doing this for so long. We devise a few silos to really help for business growth. There's a lending silo, an AI silo, and a mergers and acquisition silo. Mm-hmm. And what I saw out there is that people needed the right guidance with the right experience and the right teams.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like when you're especially when you come to think, you're looking for support and answers, and you're looking for a community that you can bounce ideas off of.
Right.
So back last summer, I started really getting heavy into AI. And I started really relearning it to where I became actually one of the tech development testers for a new AI that came out. Started really driving into that. And what we created was a closed data set, LLM, with its own platform, its own servers, its own security, that was specified to run businesses. And when I say businesses, it's actually one of the things that if you guys are real estate investors, you have to understand that you're running a business and you're running a scalable business.
Yeah.
And just like when we do an M&A, mergers and acquisitions, always think of the exit first. So
totally. I preach that till I'm blue in the face. That's why I start with that. You always start with the end of the race, right? Yeah.
And engineer backwards. Mm-hmm. So we started to really devise in an AI that actually ran companies, ran business, evaluated deals, evaluated lenders. As we get through into the show today, I'll actually really explain how we did it and what the difference is, because there is not the same. AI is not the same across all channels. And it's really cool. Even with the open sources, they're not, and how they derive their data. So it's really important that we come into terms with what this is and how to use it correctly and effectively to really scale. Because I have my own opinion is you have about 18 months. 18 months to become as fast as everybody else, or you are going to be left behind. AI, I tell people you are on the 1993 free 90-minute AOL CD version of AI right now.
That's right.
If all those people remember that.
Well, yeah. And I'll bring up an interesting thing. A lot of people don't know this, and maybe some of you do, but I'm going to say this. Open AI, when you go on ChatGPT, and people are like, oh, I'm just going to do this, and I'm going to have, it's bad enough that kids are writing their term papers with this stuff now. But when people are saying that they're going to use it to do a business plan or any of this other stuff, I hope you guys understand that you're listening out there that it's open AI, yes. Meaning the entire world now has, if somebody's got the same type of idea that you do and you punch it in there, it's cross-referencing your intellectual property and your secret ideas that you don't want to get out there anymore. And so it's not a shortcut because it just delivers it to the entire planet. And a lot of people don't realize that. They think it's just secure, kind of like a Google search, and that nobody's going to see it or nobody's going to figure it out, or some other people aren't. There's people that you'll put an idea in ChatGPT, OpenAI, and unless you have the paid version, it's out there to every country in the world. And so I want you to explain, because you're really such a good educator this way, to break it down and simplify it. So let's take it into 3 levels.
Okay.
And I'll use an example, and I want you to kind of bounce off that.
Okay.
Somebody goes through the private money brokering, or they're new to private money brokering. They just kind of come into it. They go through the class. They get certified with any one of the number of classes, and now they want to go out and start to use that. They're new to not only the space of real estate investing, but of AI, right? Because you get a lot of people that are late 30s, mid 40s, early 50s it's like a foreign language. You might as well speak in Mandarin, right?
Right.
And so let's talk about the first time users and what they can expect to benefit from AI, and some of the pitfalls where people think, I'll just plug it in there and get a bunch of leads or whatever, because there's so much confusion or assumption in Ward's law, right? Whatever's accused is assumed.
Right.
It's going to go down that line. So explain for the novice, the newbie, the greenhorn, what they can expect or how to use it best for their services.
All right. So first we'll go into open source and closed source, because there's a difference. That's a big difference. So when you guys use open source, you have to come to the understanding of this, is that when you're using open source AI, it's scraping data from the internet, okay, and pulling that data in. And there are things about how you command something. Some people call it prompting. And how you ask the question reflects how it delivers the answer. Okay. So first thing you have to do is I teach everybody. And again, I'm not like some prompt engineer course guy or anything like that. What I'm telling you to do is this. First, you're going to have to really become a great communicator, okay? Because AI, think of it as just another human, okay? And you're talking, and you have to be very explicit on what you're asking for.
Well, like when the search engines first came out, right? Alta Vista and all that stuff, and I'm probably dating myself, right? But you had to put in certain words to get what you wanted out of it, right? So you had to communicate with that, because it's just a big giant search engine, right?
Right. So as you guys put your information in, know that it's very generalized because it's scraping from website data. Okay. So if you were saying, I'm a real estate investor and I'm in the Tampa, Florida area, and I want to be a flipper, how do I find leads? And it's going to well, go on MLS. It's very general. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So if you don't start commanding downward, okay, and asking very, very specific things and how these things work, it's not going to give you your direction. And here's the very biggest key. On any business, whether you're using AI or you're still a pad and paper guy,
I am.
Not how you make money, it's how do I not lose money.
Right.
There's a difference. If you can structure your questions as find out everything that's wrong, find all the problems, now solve for X. If you can solve problems, you're making money. So that's the difference.
Okay.
When you're using AI, drive into how everything breaks, then solve that.
Well, give an example of a command that you would put into that, right?
Okay.
I'll give you a scenario.
Okay.
I'm new, and I'm trying to find us places to hang out to meet other flippers in Tampa, right?
Okay.
So where do all the flippers and investors meet up in Tampa?
And that's a secondary thing that you guys have to be aware of. SEO is going out the door. It's all going AI driven. They haven't really came up with a term yet. So if you're not visible on AI when you search things, you are going to be dead in the water, because AI is now a big search engine. Just like Scott's question, where do I go for this? Where do I go get a good steak? Where do I go for this? That is becoming the new search engine. So just keep that on your hat on how you guys are structuring your business.
Okay. Great point.
Open AI yourself. Claude, Grok, OChat, and Gemini. If you do those 4 and you search and your name doesn't come up, you got a problem. Just know that now. You got to read.
So what are the 4 again? So everybody write this down.
So the big open 4 that then you'll have other people like bounce off of them is ChatGPT.
Right.
Grok, which is Elon's.
Okay.
Gemini, which is out there. It's more of an infrastructure, but Gemini. Okay. And then Claude, which is Anthropic.
Okay.
So those are your big four. All right.
Yeah.
So when you guys start using those, those engines are designed a certain way. And the questionings and the commands that they do are made specifically a certain way of how they get the answer. You may have noticed not only do you ask the same question in OpenAI, you could open up a new chat and ask the same question, it's a different answer. But you could open another source and it's a completely different answer.
Right.
Okay, because how they draw the information in. So it's really important that you think of open source AI as like a really, really smart friend that knows a bunch of stuff. Okay?
Right. Yeah, the kid that's going to do your math homework for you. Yeah.
Right. So like Scott said, how do I find a new place? If you go into those places, how do I find a good real estate place to start flipping? It's going to just give you the top SEO lists because it's pulling from the internet. So if you're going to be that type of business person, I want to know, where would I go to be around the best flippers that flip multi-unit properties in the South St. Pete area that are really good at analyzing and teaching new people, or I may change my asset class. I want to flip single family homes and I want to do it in Fort Myers, or I want to do it in Houston, or I want to do it, in Minnesota. Don't go to Minnesota. Yeah. But you want to do all these very specific, and then who you are. What are you trying to achieve? Why are you getting there? What do you need to get out of this? Very specific requests, because your answers will be as general as your question.
Okay, so the more detailed you can be, and if you have to write, an Elizabethan sonnet to get to get as granular as you want to be,
right?
Write it out and be descriptive and use your big boy words, right?
Right, and you'll notice this as you guys maybe you talk to it, you may find yourself really improving your own communication skills. Am I as specific as I need to be? Are you a person that say a lot of theys and thems? All right, and who are we talking about? So you actually have to be very specific. This is a machine learning device. Okay, so you have to be very specific, and that's open source. Closed source is a little bit different, and that's why I run a lot of closed sources when I run my businesses with it, and when I evaluate my deals. In fact, because it's closed source, I have a little bit more leeway because I have a specific data set.
So let me stop you there and ask you this question. Okay. A lot of people are going to say closed source. I'm assuming that comes with a fee, right?
Right.
And so it's a subscription model, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so in that, what realistically can people pay, or what do you think it's going to dent them a month? Because I know that half our listeners right now are going, God, now I got to buy this too. Explain kind of that subscription and what that looks like and best to use it, because so many people will get into something, they'll pay the subscription, and then they still don't know how to use it. And I think that's the crime, right? Because people paying the money, they want the help, but it's maybe above their pay grade a little bit from a technology standpoint where they're not understanding. So dig into that a little bit if you would, please.
Sure. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what we created. Okay. I have the most knowledge on that.
Great. That's great, you guys. I've seen it. It's amazing.
So it's called JT1. And the funny thing is, if you Google it, you'll probably find a bunch of videos of me or something like that talking about it, but you won't find it because we are very, very, you'll have to contact us, and we'll interview you about your business and how to set it up and how to use it and how to be successful with it. All right. So when you use a closed data set, so for JT1, we have our own, what's called, so this is what questions to ask. If you're not going to use mine, which is awesome, we have our own platform called CoreBrain. CoreBrain houses all the data. We used 8,000 hours of actual transactions, actual businesses, actual M&A deals, actual real estate transactions, actual startups, actual real recorded coaching from the high top 1% coaches, everything. All right. So that is the philosophy base. Okay. We built our commands against them. And then what we did was we actually put personalities. So I have a CEO brain. I have an attorney brain. I have a COO brain. I have a marketing and branding. If you guys look at any of my social media, it's all made with my AI. I have an investment brain. I have image generation brain. So I segmented out the types of people. So basically you have a $5 million C-suite on your team running your business, especially as you API in with like Go High Level or something like that. They're the ones making the calls and sending the emails and doing the text messages and looking at your sure. analysis. And the second thing, so on closed source, you have actual data. It doesn't scrape the internet, okay? And that's where, like even Sam Altman was talking about, there's going to be a company with one employee and it's $1 billion valuation company, because these closed sources are specifying the data, specifying the answer to your request. If you
you can get granular with that too. So let's say you have an ice cream shop business, or you have an auto detailing business, like a lot of the entrepreneurial stuff, or sell medical devices, or you're a roofer, or you're a private money broker.
Yep.
You can go down all of these silos, and your closed system has basically, it's got a hat for every head, right? Like they say, an ass for every seat, kind of deal, right? So that would be like a level 2. Is that my understanding of, as you're starting to ramp, or can people that are first time really kind of looking to grow their businesses?
Yes.
Because and we'll get to the transitional stuff here in a minute, our industry, but how difficult is it to use? Because it seems, and I'll say this, man, it's a little intimidating, man.
Mm-hmm.
So talk about that for somebody that's, let's say that they're in the Midwest and they had a job for 20 years and they're semi-retired and they kind of want to get into this, and it's so foreign to them that it's almost seems like a hill too high to climb, right?
Well, so to answer your question, how hard is it? You have to find the right play. Like us, when you make, like, we'll have a little chat thing. If you have an issue, real person answers it. For AI out, and then we have our team. Our team is not farmed out. We have our own development team. We have our own service team. So when you're looking for those people to use, are they real? Okay. 2, how easy it. That's why we actually have people call. We actually show you how to use it for your business. For example, your first question, like we do two examples. I'm going to use a lending example and a startup business example.
Okay, great.
So we have a person that wanted to start a plumbing company in Chicago. Okay, we showed the difference between open source and ours. Open source told him to buy a truck, buy a logo and put it on a polo, buy plumbing tools, make a website, go to the Chamber of Commerce. Again, really, that is not going to help you. Okay, mine said, well, what part of Chicago? Are you aware of the unions that you have to deal with? These are the places you need to go to check with the unions. Are you doing residential or commercial?
Yeah, I mean the real kind of mentoring type of stuff, right?
Now, it works as a real strategist. Okay, when you use this type of information, how easy it is. When you actually have something that's giving you specific data, it's so much more easier, because right now when you're using open source, you don't know if it's real or not. You don't know if it's the truth or not. You don't know if this is good advice or not. If you for my lending business, when I get a deal in, I have a loan committee in AI. It goes to AI. It finds out all the reasons why loan committee would kick this loan out. Then it gives me all the solutions my borrower can do to solve them.
Then solution based. That's cool, because it's one thing. It's one thing just to have off of loan level price adjusters why something doesn't qualify into a box, right?
Right.
It's another thing to go, but if you did this or cross-collateralized this or grabbed another property or got a cosigner, so it's solution-based, which I think is really important for the newbies.
Yeah.
Right? Because as they're finding solutions, they're also learning.
Right. Think of this. You're a real estate investor. Like, well, Alex, that's great for banks. Why do you say, hey, guys, send me your underwriting guidelines, and you pop it in. So every deal you get, you shoot it over, and you know exactly what your loan's going to look like. So it's like, well, what does Jimmy need over XYZ lending?
Sure.
He needs these things. So you email a full package. Your loans are being flown through. So it works in both cases. But you just have to make sure you secure the information correctly. And that's why we made what we made.
Okay. So, the $1,000 question or the $64,000 question, right? Hollywood Squares or Pyramid or whatever game show that was. Everybody's always trying to figure out how to get leads, right? How do we get more business coming in the door? Because obviously, you got to get the lead, right? But you want to keep the business. So you have to perform once you bring them in. You got to serve them the pizza. But how do we get them to come for the pizza?
Okay.
So from an AI perspective, what's the best way to kind of use that.
What I tell people to do is, if you're going to be serious about leads and you're going to be serious about this business, you're going to have to spend some sort of operations.
That's right.
Sales and ops have to go together.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to tell everybody there, right? This is a business and it should be treated as such, and there's nothing free.
Right.
There's no free. I just plugged it into this, and all of a sudden it was just a miracle, and I didn't have to put any time, energy, effort, finance, anything behind it. You have to invest in your business. I want to say that right now, because there's a big misconception out there that through open source AI that's going to solve all your problems for free, and that's not true. That's not the case.
In fact, I mean, you're just making their model smarter. I mean, why do you think? Where do you think they got all the personal trainers are going to be losing? There's all the stuff's on personal training now on open source.
Totally.
I made 5 softwares on open source. Now there's a bunch of them.
Yeah.
So, but to answer Scott's question, sales and ops have to go together. All right. The most investors I hear that have issues with leads is because they're trying to do it like it was done like 20 years ago. They're finding like all these people that were successful about 20 years ago and like, well, yeah, just go drive for dollars. And okay. So
it's a new era now, man. It's a new
right.
era.
It is fast. Mm-hmm. So not even handling the sales objection part that you have to, because we have a sales objection AI in my AI that actually handles your objections, left brain and right brain individuals. But so I would API in AI into like a CRM, like a Go High Level or a HubSpot or Salesforce or whatever you're using, or whatever else you're using. There's a lot of cool stuff out there too.
Yeah.
So you put that in and you use your marketing out that way. Because one thing I always tell people with leads is how you can get more leads is by branding as well. If you are not branded in the community as a real buyer, then you're going to have a hard time proving your case once you do have a lead. So your social posts have to be on spot. You have to look like a real buyer. Or email campaigns, are you aware that it will take anywhere from 8 to 12 pushes after your first hard no to get the deal?
Yeah, we were talking about that too, because we talk about this kind of stuff all the time. So folks, there used to be this recipe like, 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 no's or whatever. That's all Mad Men stuff from the 1960s. I'm telling you right now. And his answer is actually a little bit more optimistic. I've heard it as high as 21 to contact, right? So in our CRM that we do here, obviously we've got some of the AI pushes, and we can do all the stuff that he's talking about. But it is, don't think that it's how it used to be where people come to think, because the data and everything it's such an overload now, right? That you have to be consistent. And what he talks about on branding, there's a lot of competition out there, and so whatever's accused is assumed. And I'm not saying that in a disingenuous way, but I'm saying you have to get out there and keep pushing yourself, going, no, I'm real, I'm legitimate, I'm a real deal, I'm a real deal, I'm a real deal, and it doesn't stop. You don't just have a good Monday. It's every day. It's every day. Sorry, I didn't mean to take the thing on that. You just brought up some good points to get me fired up, and I'm like,
no, it always. But that's what's like AI. Think of this. Think of AI as this. AI is an enhancement, not a replacement. Okay, it is supposed to enhance you.
Man, I like that. It's an enhancement, not a replacement, because so many people think it is. They're like, we'll just have AI do it, and they don't even know.
Well, one of the things we do to exemplify that point, we are the only company that actually lets you AI yourself. So the way that
you explain that, how does that work?
So any kind of SOP, standard operating procedures, your tonality, your personality, how you work, how you like to do things, all that stuff, we actually upload that into your brain. So it stacks on top of our knowledge. So when you make because we are one of the only ones that have AI employees, when your AI employees do what you would do, they enhance you 100, 1,000 times because you're everywhere now. So if you're like a player person and you are struggling because nobody does it like you, and you're the guy that's like, you know what, I'll do it. No, I'll do it. And you're not growing anymore because you can only do so much. We've actually AI'd out people in their companies. So now that person's everywhere.
Well, I want to go down the rabbit hole for a second on this too, because AI employees, people talk about this, and there's always a trust issue like you talk about. Well, I don't know if I can have some machine answering the phone, and people are going to think it's cheesy and not real. And how do I know that they're actually going to know how to answer these questions? Because we had a doctor's office call me back for one of those ratings, right? How did we do and blah, blah, blah. And it was the most intelligent conversation I've had with a computer ever. I mean, I knew that it was AI, but the tone, the inflection, the nomenclature, the vocabulary, the way that it's not your grandpa's AI anymore.
No.
Right? And it's moving so fast. So talk a little bit about somebody that might, like you and I are, we're type A, high, full throttle guys that are always like, I'll handle it. It's just easier for me to do it myself. I'll just handle it. We fall into that trap a lot. I know we do. Talk about the benefit or what it would be like onboarding an AI employee, because I know that people are going to want to hear about that. Talk about that.
One of the things that you'll have to understand, the only heavy lift on onboarding AI employees is making the initial So if you're a person that you don't have a lot of transcript videos, you don't have a lot of things written out, you're like everything's in here.
That's right.
You have to get that out. That's the hardest part.
Okay. What does that look like? What's that task list look like? What's the process of doing that?
Depending on what you want the employee to do. So if you're an employee, let's say Scott's conversation on phone calls, okay?
Yeah.
This person's going to call, and let's say you're a real estate investor, and let's say this number goes to leads, okay? So that phone call would come in, and by the way, on a side note, as a consumer, nobody cares that it's AI. Just like I want it now, and if this gets me what I want now faster, great. That's what the neuropsychology states, where people actually do not care.
They just want a solution.
They just want a solution, and if I don't have to be on the phone longer than this, great. All right. So
let's say phone calls during the day. Believe me, brother. I mean,
yes. So let's say, like for me, I did a lot of Chris Voss and JT Fox and all that kind of stuff like that. So I actually have their types of personalities and sales negotiation stuff uploaded. Okay. Into that. So on SOP, I'm going to have this call. My employee's name is Jennifer. And Jennifer's like, and this is what she says, and she listens for the left and right tonality of my lead. And
they do. The computers now, you guys can tone inflection. They can catch if you're getting annoyed. I mean, it happened. It's really impressive. It's cool.
And then what you'll do is on the standard operating procedure, you can say, here are kill questions. So that says, if this happens, let's say it's like, well, I need to sell my house like tomorrow. Well, you know what? Let me see if Scott's available. Can you hold on for me? And so when you have this special number that rings, and you know that number means money. Okay?
Right.
Let's say he doesn't pick up. Let's say he's on a call. He's doing a podcast or something like that. And like, you know what? He's not available. What I want to do is I want to have him call you back. And then you say, if no pickup, then ask these questions. What's your name? What's your email? What's your phone number? What's the address? So it's all about, if this happens, then I want this. Just like when you guys onboard a new employee. The difference is this is actually going to happen. And then when Billy gets mad, he doesn't want to do his job or something like that, that doesn't happen. That's the only difference. This is not sick, always doing what you said to do, all that kind of stuff. So that's the only important. You have to make sure you've covered what you want, and it'll happen.
What would it cost? Because I know that I'm going to get emailed this question, right? What would it cost to hire one Jennifer?
Like a real Jennifer?
Yeah. So if you were going to bring on one AI, because everyone's going to say that's awesome, what is that going to cost me to age that type of?
I would say.
So $5,000, $10,000, $1,000. No.
No. So you're at probably for JT1, call it almost $3 a day, and that's what $13.98 a year.
Yeah, I don't know. I could get my daughter's pink calculator.
Yeah, that's like so.
I'll tell you right now, 13 times 30. Let's say that's about $3.90 a month. Some of you guys are paying more for your cable.
Right, and then this is actually making you money. The second cost is all dependent on you. So if you are someone who can tie in your APIs, which is not that difficult, and now that you have AI, you think I built 3 websites in a weekend with my AI. Yeah. So you can say, how do I tie this in with Go High Level? And you can do it. How do I do this? And you can do it. So one thing, do I want to spend time or do I want to spend money? That's always your business question. And if the time you spent does not equate to the profit you're making, then you can't spend the time, you have to spend the money. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example. We have probably over 300, 400 website templates, right? in our CRM, and so you can do websites and create them like, But you remember 10 years ago when you had to have a meeting, hire a guy, he's going to come in, he's going to go, you got to do all the stuff, track it back, then have another meeting and go over it, and so your website's not even done and up and running in 2 weeks. You built 3 in a weekend, right? So technology part of it's crazy. We're up on time. I'm telling you, you guys, I could talk to Alex forever. I'm serious. Sometimes we get on the phone and there'll be 2 hours that have gone by and we're like, oh my God. So Alex, tell them how to get a hold of you. You're going to be back a lot. You're going to be, you're obviously with us now as an expert and all that stuff. And so you're going to be a major contributor, going forward for the future, which we're so lucky to have you. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. It's a blessing.
It's my pleasure.
Tell them how to get a hold of you. So then that way, if they've got, because this conversation is going to go on and on and on and on and on, but I'm sure that people are going to want to contact you directly. So how do they get a hold of you?
Well, because they're involved with you, I'm going to give them my cell phone. Okay. So my cell phone is 832-584-0986. So you can call and text me, and I will actually show you specifically what you need. You can go to ironrockconsulting.com, and you can there's a calendar link. You can pick times and stuff like that. You can email Alex at ironrockconsulting.com. And those are the 3 ways you can get to me. I am usually up by 4 and I'm in bed by 10. So in between those times, call me.
Well, but I'll say this too, folks. He's busy. Like, how I do it is I'll just call him, and eventually I'll get a hold of him. But I would suggest use the Calendly link and get a time set up with him so that you guys can sit down and he's not in the middle of a grocery store or a kid's game or coming off another call in between. So, so book some time with him. But you're going to see a lot more of him. You'll see him in the newsletters and all that kind of stuff. But ironrockconsulting.com, ironrockconsulting.com. And go there and take a look at it. But Alex, thank you so much. We're gonna jump here, but more to come. And this is exciting because it's a subject that's not going to go away. And every time we talk, I know that everybody's going to learn something. So thank you, man. It's been a great show. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you. Bye.